All right, here we are, North Frisco CrossFit friends and family. We are week 2 of the Open, CrossFit Open 19.2, and they've given us a repeat of 16.2, or at least a variation of. It's really close to it, so let's talk about it, let's go into it. So we're starting in an 8-minute time block, and that's where the variation is. If you were here in 2016, you remember doing it. These were all in 4-minute time blocks, all the way from the start to the beginning. We had 5 4-minute rounds. It went out to 20 minutes. So what's changed this year is that the first block is 8 minutes, and then we get 3 blocks of 4 minutes after that if we make it through all the work required in each block. So let's talk about it. We have 8 minutes to go through 25 toes to bar or knees to waist. That's of course RX and scaled. 50 double unders or singles. Once again, RX or scaled. And then 15 squat cleans. 25 toes to bar, knees to waist again. 50 double unders or singles again. And then 13 squat cleans. What happens with these squat clean, they go down as we go through the workout through each round. We get less reps, 2 less reps every round, but the weights go up. What I have on the board is just the first 2 rounds, or what we're required to do in the first 8 minutes. If we get all of this work done in those first 8 minutes, then we're welcome to move on for another 4 more minutes of work. So this is one of those workouts where the more work you get done, you get rewarded. And your reward is more exercise, and we all want more exercise. So that's the way it looks. For the whole rundown, I would go to games.crossfit.com, check it out, read all the required movement standards, read everything. We also have it here at the gym for you guys to look at when you come in. Of course, ask any coach or whatever, and we'll be able to clear that up for you. So that's the workout itself. Now let's talk about how we're going to set this thing up, how we're going to start and go from start to finish. So warm up and mobility. Got a lot to do, got kind of a lot to talk about, a lot of work on here. We got a lot of pieces moving. So let's talk about the warm up first, our general warm up, and my suggestion. We're a big fan of EMOMs and little AMRAPs around here. So personally, I'll start with some kind of like probably a 12-minute EMOM is what I'm thinking. What I want to include in my EMOM is I want some jump rope, I want a little hinge work, I want a little squat work, and I want a little kipping work on the rack as well. So I'm going to look at something up here. This is what I'm probably going to do. 30 double unders on the first minute. On the second minute, I'll go with a 8 or a 10 calorie row, something like that. Pick up 10 goblet squats for the third minute. I'm thinking probably a 55 or maybe a 70 if I'm feeling pretty good. I'll get 10 goblet squats in on the third minute. And then on the fourth minute, I'm just going to do 10 kips on the bar. When I say kips on the bar, just concentrate on moving head through the window, both front to back, making sure the lats and the shoulders are driving and not the legs. I'm not doing an actual toe to bar. We're just getting the kipping movement. As I get a little more specific later in the warm up before I'm ready, I can do some toes to bar there, but not a whole lot. We don't want to waste our good ones, right? All right. So that's the EMOM. That's the general warm up. Is the way we're going to start that. Let's talk about the squat clean a little bit, because this is a lot of different thoughts kind of go back and forth here, and a lot of folks really think about what they should do. My suggestion and my opinion, and I know what I'll do is, I'm going to work from the back to the front. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But my hope is that I can touch the bar at 275. That's a hope and a prayer for me. If I happen to be able to get and touch that 275, that'll be my first rep at 275. I'm only going to warm up to the 225 bar. I'm probably going to do 4 or 5 of those reps, and that's it. Here's the reason is, we talk about the beginning of this workout when we start it, we're going to be in an aerobic pace, right? That's the way it's going to feel. It's going to feel like a light jog. As we get deeper into this, we start using more muscles, we're going to turn very anaerobic. The way that heavy bar will feel in a warm-up, when you're in an aerobic state, you're not under a lot of stress and your heart rate's not high, is totally different than it's going to feel when you're 13, 14, 15 minutes into this workout. It's going to feel totally different. So if you think you're going to trick your body into that heavier barbell, that hey, I worked up to the heavy barbell, or I got heavier than what I thought I was going to be just so it feels good, it's kind of the wrong thought process here. We're not going to need to do that. So my suggestion, I'm going to warm up to around 70%, my 1 rep max, or just to the bar right before where I think I can get to. So whatever the heavier bar is right before I think I can get to, that's where I'm going to warm up to. So that would be my suggestion on that one. And then as far as mobilities, what are we looking at here? We're looking at hips and ankles. We need to be able to pull the bar. We need to be able to squat. So hips and ankles are a big part for a lot of us. To me, that includes glutes and hamstrings as well. It's going to be a pretty posterior chain dominant workout, so we want to make sure that we get that warmed up pretty well. And then don't forget about the lats and even the grip a little bit, right? There's a lot of grip going on. It's a real grippy workout between toes to bar and our squat clean. So that's a little bit of the warm up and the mobility stuff. Let's talk about setups and transitions. Unlike 19.1, where you could literally win or lose this workout in your setup and your transitions, it's not as important this week. Our setup, the way we have you guys set up for tonight and the way we'll all set up, we have all of our equipment within about a 7 or an 8 foot walk. So it's not as important. We're going to be spread out just a little bit more than we were last week. We are going to make sure that we are intentional about walking from movement to movement. Don't waste a lot of time going and grabbing your bell and going and grabbing chalk and different things like that. Walk at a nice pace from movement to movement. Once you get to the movement and you're set up and ready, go ahead and start moving, right? Don't waste a lot of time there. The last part, let's talk about the bar a little bit. So a lot of time will be lost in this workout at the barbell. A lot of us are going to want to get to the bar. We're going to want to stand there. We're going to want to stare at it and not move it. Or we're going to move it one time and we're going to want to walk away from it, walk in a circle. Let's not do that. Let's be very intentional in our thoughts about staying as close to the barbell as we can. One of the things that I kind of like to look at is as I approach the bar, when I'm ready to lift, I'll take a left foot, right foot in, I'll get set up and I'll pull the bar, right? That's kind of my mindset when I think about with a bar as it gets heavier especially. So what that might look like as I'm going in between reps, maybe after I hit my 3rd or 4th rep at a certain weight, I'm at the bar, then I do the same thing in reverse to set up. I'll go right foot, left foot back, I'll take a breath and I'll walk left foot, right foot, set up, pull. Don't get to the bar, stand over top of it, bend over, right? We're bent over, we're restricting our airway, we can't breathe as well. So if you're gonna stand up and rest, stand all the way up and rest. Don't get sucked into leaning over the barbell and spending a lot of time there. So that's a pretty good technique. Pace and breaks, and don't get it wrong, this is a very, very workout that's very important as far as the pace goes, right? We got a lot of pace going on here. So we're gonna pace this thing from the beginning. All the way from the beginning, we're gonna pace it. We're gonna go small sets. We're gonna talk about that as we get into this. Don't think that you need to get in front of the clock. If we were doing a long AMRAP, 11, 12, 13 minutes, you wouldn't think about doing a whole bunch of reps in the first 2 or 3 minutes and getting in front of the AMRAP. It just wouldn't be your thought process. You would think about how can I pace and be consistent as long as I can so I can hold on for this long AMRAP. Think about that same thing. You're essentially starting with an 8-minute AMRAP. That's what we start with. We have to finish under that in order to get 4 minutes. So don't think about getting out in front of it. Let's go into a little bit of that. Let's talk about it. So know your weaknesses. Where are you weak at? Are you weak in your toes to bar? Well, we got to make sure those sets are small right from the get-go and they're very efficient. Double unders, is that going to be our weakness here? Once again, that's fine. Make your sets small, make them manageable. We can't panic. We're not going to win or lose in the toes to bar. We're not going to win or lose in double unders. It's going to be this barbell. If the weakness is the barbell, then sure, having a little more time when we get to the barbell is important, but not meaning having more time as my heart rate's at 185 as opposed to my heart rate being at 155. It's significantly harder to lift a heavy amount of weight with a higher heart rate. So don't think of that you need to race and get out in front real quick because you'll crash and burn at that big heavy bar, whatever that may be to you. As far as individual movements goes and breaks there, my suggestion for everybody in the gym, toes to bar right out the gate. 5s are the biggest sets we need to do. The amount of time that I'll spend by going 5s and by you going 15, 10, or 25 unbroken, you will spend way more time resting and way more time bent over the barbell, right? So don't waste all of your energy up front in the toes to bar. So my opinion is fast 5s, fast 3s, or fast singles. At some point, all of us are gonna get to that anyway. In that second round, I don't care what you did in the first round, you're probably gonna end up somewhere around 5s or 3s anyway. In the third round for sure, I promise that most of us, even if we went 15-10, 15-10 in the first 2 rounds, our third rounds will not be the same. Our third round will be 5s and 3s and 1s, and you're gonna have to mix and match. Big thing with the toes to bar is the smaller sets, and when you're in those small sets, make them fast and make them efficient on your turnarounds. Really important. Another thing you can do there, which is pretty good, is have a riser or some plates underneath of your feet so you don't have to waste energy jumping onto the bar. You shouldn't have to jump to the bar to grab it. You should be able to left hand, right hand, and just grab it right out the gate. So that's something the coaches and us can help you with. Double unders, not a whole lot to be said on double unders. You're either good at them or you're not, right? So We should think, oh, I'm going to go unbroken or I'm going to go a set or two, but we have to make those manageable. Once again, it's going to be depending on how efficient you are. If you're one of those folks that we're going to get into a little bit that can go 100 double unders unbroken, and that's kind of your rest period, and you feel good with double unders, then by all means, your goal should be to go 50 unbroken every time, or at least 2 sets max. For some of us that struggle with them a little bit, personally, I'll probably start out with like a 35-15 or a 30-20 for the first 2 rounds. I'll see how that goes. That 3rd round, it might just be a hold on and pray thing where I'm end up to 20s and 15s or something like that. So, squat cleans. From the beginning to the end, singles. Don't really see a reason why we need to do multiple reps here. So in my opinion, singles from start to finish is going to be your best bet. Staying close to the bar and being efficient going to and from. When I say singles, I want us to think sets of singles. So what I mean by sets of singles is in the 15s, let's say my attitude is I'm going to do singles, but I'm going to do them in sets of 5. Meaning I'm going to stand next to the bar and I'm going to rip a single, follow it down, rip a single, follow it down. After my 5, I can go back to the technique of taking my right foot back, left foot back, grab a breath or 2, but then I'm going to left foot forward, right foot forward, set up and pull, right? So when we say singles, I don't mean do a single and then walk in a circle. Stay close to the bar. Can't waste time walking around. And then one of the bigger questions this morning we've all kind of been talking about, and it seems to come up every year in the Open, is shoes. What shoes do I wear? And that's it. Do I wear my Olympic lifting shoes, or do I wear my Nanos or Metcons? That's kind of the question. So personally, I'll be wearing my Nanos, and if I just happen to get lucky enough and pray myself into being able to touch the 275 bar, I'm going to have my Olympic shoes sitting out waiting for me. I'll take 40 seconds and kick my Nanos off and put my Olympic shoes on, and hopefully, that'll help a little bit. But so my opinion is, if you can do double unders in 100, 125 or more unbroken, that's where you rest normally in a workout. You feel comfortable with them, and you don't mind doing them in your lifters, and you've done that before, then by all means, use your lifters. It'll be an extreme advantage when you get to the squat cleans. It's not really going to matter the extra 6 ounces that it's heavier than your Nano or your Metcon to do toes to bar. It's really irrelevant at this point. So if you can do that, then go ahead and wear the ollies. If you're not sure or you can't do that, then just wear your regular shoes. Wear your Nanos, wear your Metcons, and that's it. So any questions y'all have, please just ask one of the coaches or myself. And good luck on 19.2.